Hello everyone, I hope you're having a good day. My name is Annie Tran. Today I will be talking about a serial killer in Colombia. His name is Luis Garavito, and yes, that's him right now because he is still incarcerated. That's him in his teenage years through the age of 40. He was born on January 25th, 1957. He has 3 nicknames that he goes by: the Crazy, the Beast, and the Priest. Colombia is known to have the worst violence and crime rates. And with the help of 2 sources, Murderpedia and New York Times, I will briefly explain how his childhood in Colombia was like and break down why he committed these crimes. In 1999, he admitted that he has committed rape, torture, and murdered 138 boys from the age of 8 to 16. Most of his victims lived in distraught neighborhoods. Most kids in Colombia would either disappear from their families or be kidnapped. Let's kick things off with his life in Colombia. He grew up in a violent environment where he was mentally and physically abused by his father. He attended school for only 5 years and wanted to be on his own at the age of 16. He worked as a store clerk and street vendors where he sold religious icons and prayer cards to support himself financially because he started off young. And as the year progressed, he was very tired of working, and then he started to pick up a drink and started to drink constantly. It turns out he was under psychiatric care for 5 years, and at one point he wanted to end himself. He wanted to end his life. Now let's talk about his case history. And according to Murderpedia, he would always see boys roaming around Colombia on their own. He tries to lure and manipulate these children by giving them money or drugs in return. Once these boys fall under his trap, he then would rape and tie them up and kill them by slicing their necks and decapitate their bodies. And during his killing spree, he was very drunk. He confessed that he killed at least 138 boys across 54 cities in Colombia. He stashed most of the bodies in his home or in abandoned neighborhoods where no one else would see. He uses the corpse as a collection to keep track, so he wrote down the date and the location of where the boys were killed. And at last, his arrest. A homeless man noticed that he was trying to abuse and harass him like a young boy. And a taxi driver noticed that Garavito's behavior towards the young boy was highly unnecessary and has seen him around town very often. The taxi driver reported him to the police, and this is where sloppy police work comes in. The police thought he was traveling for work, and so authorities wondered why there was an increase of missing child reports. Go figure. So then one investigator issued an arrest warrant for Garavito for a homicide case, which then he was arrested in 1999, where he is still held captive behind bars in Villavicencio, Colombia today. And in conclusion, he confessed that he murdered approximately 140 boys. And he is still under investigation for the murder of 172 boys. That's a lot. He was found guilty for 138 out of 172 cases. His sentence for that was 853 years. And because of the law restriction in Colombia doesn't have a death penalty, and he couldn't be in prison for more than 30 years. And so he helped the authorities find the rest of the bodies with the best of his abilities because he was drunk during his killing spree. His sentence was cut short to 22 years. Investigators discovered that he had a long history of alcoholism. And because of that, his father was addicted to alcohol, which caused him trauma because he was brutally beaten by him. Garavito was the oldest sibling out of 7. It was not easy for him. He didn't want to feel vulnerable anymore. He wanted to manifest all the power and control to these young boys. And in addition to that, Lack of education, living in poverty, and childhood trauma can cause one to act deranged and ruthless. Thank you all for listening to my story about Louis Garavito.